It's time to be in the trenches on The View from the Ninian. Another week, another disappointing episode in the life of Cardiff City. But we're here to pick the bones out of it, and there are a lot of bones because the Cardiff City carcass is slowly rotting. Ben Price, Tom Phillips, joining me to dissect the action as always. Ben Price, evening in the UK. What have you been doing with your Sunday?
I be honest, I fell asleep in the garden because it's so hot. I took full advantage, and now I think I've got sunstroke. So, yeah.
So you're going to be on form this week. Tom Phillips, 5 a.m. in Australia. What have you been doing with your Monday?
Well, I'm the Jake Humphreys high performance podding. I've just put my face in a bowl of cold water.
Saratoga
just
water. Nice.
Yeah. So
I'm a banana peel all over your face as well.
Exactly. I'm raring to go here. That was actually quite a smooth intro from you. The carcass. Did you pre-write that? Or did you?
No. Straight off the top of my dome.
Tell you what, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've been reading radio and podcasting for dummies. It's all paying off really.
He's got to B, which is biology, so that's where the carcass.
Tom, I haven't done this for a while. Any news from the future?
No, just that it's fucking early. That's all I've got for you. Yeah, nothing deeper than that.
Well, that's all we ask. It is early for Tom. It's late for us. It's also late in the season for Cardiff City. We have the QPR game to dissect after yesterday. A 0-0 draw at Loftus Road. A result that really does nothing for either team. But Ben, I mean, let's start with the first half. We only had 8 subs on the bench, which kind of set the tone for the day. Rinamotta back in, fair play to him after the week he's had. And it led to one of the worst halves of football I think I've ever seen.
It was dreadful, wasn't it? It was really bad. You think like just a day like that, it was set up for a wonderful game of football, but no, just shite.
It was so devoid of any quality. It's very hard to know what our game plan was, Tom. We started with quick wingers. It felt like we had the attacking lineup that we had before. Didn't seem we played to their strengths. What did you make of it?
When you see the lineup, you kind of go, wow, that's a lot of attacking people, like in a squad. And I think I put in the group chat, this could be like 5-all. Couldn't be further away. It was just like, you've got all those attacking players on there. They don't really know what to do. And there's just no system. And like me and Ben were talking about this before we started recording. It's just Reza seems to be changing things up now, but with no kind of tactical thing, just putting names on a piece of paper, putting them out there and hoping something clicks, which is absolutely madness when there's 6 games left in the season or whatever it is. Like, it's just... I was quite excited when I saw it, but then the realisation hits about 10 minutes into the game, and there's no system to it. Yeah. It's just we've got some exciting names that can't really play together in that system. And yeah, that's how it played out in the first half.
He made an absolutely baffling point with his selection at full time. He was asked about the subs at half time, and it made me think, what was he thinking with that starting lineup? For the fact of like, you went with those width, you went with those wide players, and they're like they're play. He said himself, they're players that like to get out wide, they like a bit of space, they like that time to run on the ball. He played that team on the narrowest pitch in the league, and it was at that point I was like, you've spotted this, Omar. Like full time, like half time, you went, "Oh, that's a bad idea, that, isn't it? Yeah, got that one wrong, and just fucking mental. Just, I don't get it. I don't get what he went with that team like that. Like obviously,
if you play those players, try and play to their strengths. And we have quick wingers who can stretch the pitch. It might be a narrow pitch, fair enough, but you can get the players wide and then fill the space with the attacking players. We still had Ruben Colwell basically playing in the 8, and he can get forward as well, but I don't even know what the tactics were in the first half. We seemed to boot the ball down the line and hope that we could run around the defenders and get onto the end of the ball. But then we didn't put crosses in. We played all these attacking players but didn't get the ball to them. And there were just holes all over the park. QPR were missing players. They were there for the taking. And it felt like we just didn't play to any kind of system that would try and exploit what they had on their pitch. They were crap. And we didn't.
Dreadful.
We were bad. They were as bad. And we didn't take advantage of that with all that pace on the pitch. And that's the most disappointing thing about it, Ben.
Yeah, spot on. We just, especially in that first half, we'll sit with that, but it's just like there was no joined up thinking from any player on the pitch.
No.
Bagan just couldn't get in the game. There was O'Dowda trying to look for stuff that just wasn't on. The back four just seemed completely disjointed. The midfield just playing. I don't think Colwell works. Like, it worked at Villa, like Colwell in the 8, but since then it hasn't really worked. He didn't do what he needed to do of bringing people in. I felt like if you had Chambers in there at times, he plugs holes. He doesn't leave the space that QPR exploit to try and get this sort of half chances from, but also managed to play the ball down and sort of get stuff going. The midfield just really didn't get going with that. I think Mansverk tried to do too much because he was trying to cover 2 positions as well, trying to make up for what Colwell was doing at the same time. It just, from then on, and as soon as it got to Mansverk or Colwell, it just stopped dead, and the ball just never made it to the people in the front four. It was just really frustrating.
It was incredibly frustrating. That said, we still had a decent chance with Ruben Colwell, who flashed from wide from far out, and they should have had a penalty. Tom, what did you make of Ruben Colwell's chance? It's kind of what we want to see him doing, isn't it? You know, getting into a bit of space, trying to make something happen when nobody else would.
Yeah, that's what he's got in his locker that nobody else has, really. But it still wasn't a shot on target. We didn't have one of those till the 71st minute.
No.
But, it's like when in a game where we're not creating anything, we're not stringing any passes together, there's no clear-cut play. Colwell has got that. And it's one of the classic snapshots where it feels like he's got no backlift, gets a load of power on it. And he's quite unlucky, really, in that. But that is the only kind of thing we created in that first half. And then you could have looked at it. Like, QPR were rubbish, but they were still better than us. It wasn't like it was 2 bad sides and, it was kind of a bit of an even stalemate. I thought they still probably slightly more than edged it as well. And I think that's the worrying thing. Like, their fans aren't happy and their team was still a better team. Like, we're so far off the pace at the moment in these games. And you said it earlier on, they were there for the taking. But we're just nowhere, we're not even anywhere near the right headspace as a team to take advantage of these situations at the moment. You like you said, O'Dowda's there trying something that isn't on, but at least he's trying something.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody else is. I feel like it's weird when you're in a relegation battle and it feels like we're going through the motions. Like it should be the cliche, shouldn't it? It should be cup finals from here on in. You've got to be playing it like a cup final, that you've got to win these games. And there's no sign of that from anyone in that squad. And I think that's the thing that's making me panic more than anything else at the moment. It's not the gulf in quality between the two teams, because like we've touched on in every episode, there's a lot of bad teams in this league. It's the desire that we seem to be lacking in. And I think that if it does catch up with us, that's the thing that's going to let us down.
I was just looking at the passing stats, Ben, and your point about Colwell and Mansverk in the middle. They were our top passers with 40 passes each. And then who do you think was our third top passer, Ben?
That's going to be Horvath, isn't it?
It was Ethan Horvath with 27 passes. And then it's Rinomota. But they're QPR's, the top 4 players who are for passes in that game were QPR players, which shows that they had a lot more kind of foot on the ball and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just think that there were times where, like in that first half, where it kind of summed up Callum O'Dowda to a T. A guy who's all desire and all fight. Like, he was putting crosses into the box, and then the ball. There was a moment where the ball squirmed out the other side, and he was the first person to get to the ball on the right hand side.
On the right,
putting the cross from relatively deep, and he ran 40, 50 yards in seconds to get the ball. There were times when Mansverk's only on loan, but he showed a lot more desire than some of the other players. He made a clearance, won the header, and then was on the end of his own header because nobody else was reacting to the ball. And to that point, Tom, it's criminal, really, that players are going out on the pitch and looking half-assed. I think when you look at yesterday's performance, I really wanted that kind of front three of Ashford, Davis, and Alves to work. But whether we couldn't get them on the ball or not, it just didn't. And there was a lack of fight and a lack of desire from them all, really, to kind of get on the ball when it came to it. Ben, let's talk about the penalty incident in the first half. You were convinced this was a penalty. Mansverk put in a tackle on a QPR player. Don't know which one it was. Talk us through it. Do you think it was a penalty now you've watched it back?
I'll be honest, I haven't watched it back properly.
Oh my God.
I've been sleeping in the garden. It's been a busy Sunday.
I've watched the highlights about 3 times.
What do you tell us then? Do you think it's a penalty?
Well, no, because Ben was so... Okay, I don't...
At the time, in the stadium, I thought we were lucky that it looked from where we were that it looked like he didn't get a touch on the ball. He just took the man. I thought we got away with one. You're clearly going to tell me now I'm talking absolute nonsense. So,
no, I'm not going to tell you you're talking absolute nonsense. I've watched it back a few times. And Tom, if you've seen it, you could probably jump in here as well. I think it's purely subjective. It looks like he gets the ball, and I think he does get a touch on the ball, but also takes the man. I think he kind of gets across the man to the point where the QPR player's leg is kind of trapped in between kind of Mansverk's thighs, and then he gets the ball. And I think that referee was fucking useless yesterday.
He was shocking.
We could talk about a lot more as we get to the second half. And I think another referee gives that because it looks like a penalty. It passes the eye test for being a penalty. Other referees don't give it because they're convinced that Mansverk got the ball. I still think, as a Cardiff fan, I'm erring on the side of he definitely got the ball, so it's not a penalty. But I can see why people, if it happened against us, I'd be aggrieved. Tom?
I think it's a good, strong challenge. I don't know, good, strong challenge. It's a strong challenge where he just gets the ball. I think you read I read multiple kind of like match reports because I don't sleep in the garden. I take this seriously.
Thank you.
And you can see that people are like saying it's a strong challenge, not committing, saying it's one either way. It is one of those ones. I think, like you said, like it passes the eye and smell test of being a penalty just because of everything that happened. But he does get the ball, so I don't think you could argue either way with it. I think you could probably say we've got away with them just because it's an away game. It's a ground where the fans are so close to the pitch. You feel like sometimes those would get given just because of the type of atmosphere that Loftus Road kind of generates. But
didn't generate yesterday, I will say that.
No, it was flat.
It felt pre-season with it being sunny.
Yeah, it did.
It had that kind of which is weird for this time of the season. But
their fans on the left were very quiet, couldn't barely hear anybody else. Usually it is quite raucous, but I don't know if they're obviously having a dreadful season as well. So it just felt like two teams who are really struggling at the moment. Ben, one of the other flashpoints one of the points I remembered in the first half was that even Horvath save from, I think it was the only save he really made in the first half, where I still haven't got a fucking clue what he's doing.
I don't think he does. It's one of those ones. It looked like he's never. He for that save alone, he looked like an outfield player playing in goal.
Yeah,
and just sort of threw it in the air.
Yeah.
There was a lot of clamour from a lot of people to put Horvath in goal, sort of saying Anik was just not the right keeper and Horvath was better. I don't see it. I really don't. He terrifies me with the ball at his feet. And I'm not massively...
He almost gave one away. I forgot that.
And I'm not massively convinced with him sort of when the ball's not at his feet either, like when he's got to try and make a save or something. He does... Like the go-go gadget arms are good, and like that save in the second half was excellent. But outside of that, he terrified me the whole game. And the defence don't look comfortable behind him. It's very similar to when we were sort of like at the start of the season when he was playing like after the Burnley game. He doesn't look confident. The players around him don't look confident, and it just felt very nervy. I just don't think he's very good. It's not a move that's worked for us here. For a bloke at one promotion with Luton.
With like 19 odd clean sheets or something. I say 19 odd as if that's big. 19 clean sheets.
It's a funny save though. It looks like someone's pressed the wrong button on the PlayStation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And like it's just hit him. Sorry, go on.
There's a cat walking across my desk. You'll all be pleased to know that FOTMob gave Ethan Horvath man of the match, 8.2.
I get it though. What I would say about him, right? He does make you continually shit yourself throughout the game. It's quite exciting, I suppose.
He makes saves though as well. He did make two good saves in the second half.
His good saves look better than Anik's good saves. I think that's the thing he's got. But when he gets it wrong, he gets it very wrong.
Oh,
so he's at both ends of like under the excitement spectrum. I think you'll have a game like he has against Villa where he's clearly man of the match because he's pulled off some worldies. But then he'll have the ball at his feet. He did that in the Villa game as well, where he turns, he's like right next to a defender, thinks he could take them on, forgets he's a goalkeeper, and completely just fucks it up. But he's clearly a decent keeper. He's too relaxed, though, in a weird way.
Yeah. He doesn't look like he's stressed, even though he clearly is because he's fucking up all the time. He made 4 saves yesterday. And I can also count 4 mistakes he made. That one save we're talking about, Ben, where he kind of dived one way. I thought it took a deflection. I watched it back and I was like, it must have taken a deflection for him to kind of dive one way and push it out the other way. Didn't take a deflection. Almost kicked the ball against a QPR defender to give away a goal. He also flapped it across that he then put out for a corner, and then on the second corner that he gave away, I don't know what he was doing, but he booted it out, and it looked like it came off the post, and we somehow got a goal kick. So they're the 4 errors I can count in yesterday's game that made me go, "Well, this doesn't look good."
I'll also go with he completely fumbled, just bottled in the first half coming for a cross.
Oh, he did as well, yeah.
That former journalists on Twitter claimed helped prove that he had a good commanding of his penalty area, but the fact he just let it go, don't get it. Really don't understand it, and
It's like,
see why he got sacked.
When I play in goals, I don't come out for crosses because I'm scared.
Yeah, but
But I'm not a goalkeeper.
Fair enough. Yeah, you're not a professional goalkeeper who's been trained to doing this for a long time. Ethan Horvath.
Still time.
Still time, actually, yeah. If anyone's listening, I kept a clean sheet at Sunday last week. I did come out and punch one throw. Don't know what I was doing. It was really weird.
He wasn't in his own art. He was in the opposition half at the time and got sent off. But he punched it.
Ben, big changes at half-time. Jesper Darland came on for Joel Bagan. I can call him Joel Bagan then. Ollie Tanner for Will Alves. Callum Robinson for Isaac Davis. One of the tweets, let me see if I can find it. Oh, it just came in from Alex Bennett. And I'll ask you this one now, Ben, because that's how professional we are. Anyone else find it weird that last week, 3 half-time subs by the opposition made the difference, and then Reza attempted it this week? So out of ideas, he's copying other managers. Is that fair?
I was going to go with shit at wall, see what sticks. So probably just as unfair. Yeah. 2 of the subs I got, there was part of the subs I understood why you wanted to make changes. Other bits I didn't understand with it.
What bits didn't you understand?
Well, obviously leaving Salak on, totally understand that. And I get bringing on Callum Robinson. I think that's fair. Bagan wasn't playing great, so I can understand bringing on a centre-back. I don't understand why you bring on Darland, who last time he came on had one of the worst cameos I think I've ever seen from a City player, and that is saying something. I also then don't understand if you're looking to change the wingers, I don't understand why, if you're going to do that, the 2 that you change are Alves and Davis, and you're replacing them for like with a pacey winger and Tanner, who's not played for months. I know Tanner's got a bit more physical presence, but I just didn't see this. And that is, I'm not going to state it for it, it's totally understandable. He's been out with a broken foot for months. It was especially 45 minutes in coming in at half time. That's a tough start to get back into it. So it didn't work out for him. But again, it was the wrong time to make that sub. And out of the players to come off, I thought Ashford did nothing at all in that first half. And if I was going to make any change, he would be the man I brought off. I was saying to you, it was, for me, the first sub I'd be making is Ashford off, Turnbull on, and put Cole in the 10. And somehow Ashford lasted to the 70th minute, something like that. And it felt like Tombola sort of substitutions, if anything.
It's Jesper Darland. That I will say, though, is that Jesper Darland did improve our defence in the second half. We looked a lot more assured with him in. That said, Tom, what's Dimi Gutas done wrong?
I don't know. You look at our starting lineup, it looks a weak defence now.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. But we've got a clean sheet. So we're moaning about the keeper, moaning about the defence, but I suppose we did get a clean sheet. So, positives. But it just shows that we still don't know what our strongest starting defence is. We were saying this weeks ago, and we're not going to know between now and the end of the season either. It's a really, really odd one. There's been times this season where we've been absolutely praising Gutas. We've seen Darland, this is someone that we're going to turn around and get 15 million for and things like that. But then it's not really materialised. But I suppose that's what happens when you're chopping and changing all the time. You don't have time for your defence to build confidence.
No.
And it's a tough one. I don't have a clue what our starting lineup is going to be each week. You've got the 2 sides of that, right? You've got the one where Craig Bellamy, you don't know what he's going to pick because he's a thinking man's kind of football coach. He's looking at the opposition and he's trying to tailor it. And then you've got Reza, who's gone, there's quite a lot of people in this room. I might give him a go. And
but you're right? Kian Ashford had a really good spell in the team Christmas into the new year, then all of a sudden was dropped for no reason. And now all of a sudden he's flavour of the month again. And it's what's changed?
And it was Gutas' birthday the other day. So it feels really harsh. I thought Marisa was a nice bloke, but there we go. Even that's turning now. Perhaps it was all up front.
I was going to say, surely having someone's birthday is a reason for him to play as well, Ariza. Go on, mate. It's your birthday. Have a run around. On you go.
That's like giving him a day off.
If you're a
Don't get
professional,
part of that shit.
if you're a professional footballer, right, and you're told at half time it was your birthday the other day, so I'm going to bring you on now. How patronising, how quickly do you reckon that professional footballer's put like, right, there's a transfer request?
Well, I mean, was it Yaya Toure left Man City because they didn't buy him a birthday cake? So
True.
I think footballers are a lot more precious than you would think in that regard. Ben, those changes did have an impact. We were improved in the second half, but that isn't really saying much, is it?
No. But it was better. I think, yeah, credit where it's due. Things changed. I think it was just the energy from Callum Robinson sort of dropping deep, trying to receive the ball. I think he was everywhere. It was really encouraging to see. You could tell, like, if there's one player sort of really going, right, we need to sort of work our bollocks off and treat this like a cup final, it was Robinson that second half. He worked his absolute nuts off.
He did. He was jeering at the crowd, patting the badge and all that kind of stuff. He was shouting at Ollie Tanner, which leads to the next point, Tom. Do you think the players currently lack trust in each other? And I've thought about this for a few weeks. I thought about it at Blackburn. The players are kind of looking around at each other and being quite critical of each other. There was a moment in the first half where Salek was through and he tried to hit it out of his feet with the outside of his right foot when Ashford was through next to him. And that Tanner moment where the ball comes across to Tanner and he just tries to volley it. I think he had, he had his name flashing in lights, but Robbo was screaming at it afterwards. Do you feel like these players they're lacking trust in each other?
I think they're lacking trust in the system rather than each other. I think with Tanner, he hasn't played for a good couple of months. So again, your decision making is probably off for the first few weeks as well. So that doesn't help. But like, I suppose when you're in the starting lineup, when you're coming on and you're looking to your left and you're looking to your right, then it's a different person to the week before because you've changed the system up. There's 6 changes or whatever. It doesn't help. There's no doubt about that. And I'd love to see one of our training sessions to see what we're working on tactically because it changes week on week and none of it seems to work. So I think it's just a team who are just lacking confidence to everything that's going on, really. And that's coming out as looking like a lack of trust in each other because I think we're running out of ideas. And it's scary, really. And I think what we have got now is bringing on someone like Robinson, tapping the badge, because he knows something needs to be injected into it.
Yeah.
And that's all we've got is kind of theatrics, really. It's like, we play up to the crowd, we G them up, add a bit of energy in here, and hope one goes in off the arse. Or, someone flies one in from 35 yards. And I think, it's worrying times, really. I think the one positive we have got is up top, we have got Salek, we have got Robinson. They are game changers.
Yeah.
Whichever one comes off the bench, whichever one starts, they're the type of player who can make a difference. We have got Colwell, who's got that moment of magic. And I think, to be honest with you, that's what we're relying on because we haven't got set pieces really anymore to kind of hope we score a couple of headers or anything like that. And I think we're looking at those 3 players to kind of drag us out of the dirt on this run-in.
I didn't realise Tanner came on against Sheffield Wednesday.
I didn't either.
No, I'm looking at his stats now. Last game's played, trying to think because he was out a while. What was his last game? His last game before his injury was the 3-0 to Swansea.
Yeah, that's when he broke his foot.
Yeah, and then it came up saying he played 13 minutes against Sheffield Wednesday. I was like, I don't remember that. And then I looked at his FOTMOB rating of 5.9. I was like, that's why I don't remember that.
Yeah, he's got lovely football boots. The new version.
They are nice.
Mercurial Vapors. They're really nice. Classic pair of football boots. Ben, second half. Should we have had a penalty? Let's talk about the penalty incident and then we'll talk about everything else. Should we have had a penalty?
Yes. I think it's blatant. Just how the referee, and you said about earlier, that referee, I've never known a referee not want to be at a football match less in my life. Just didn't look asked. Everything that happened, he waved it away from foul throws to clear penalties to just like the most basic of free kicks of people just at one point players were just ripping each other down. You're just like, nah, I don't care.
Yeah.
Can't be asked. Piss off. I'm getting 100 quid for this. It was so Sunday. It was like a Sunday League graph, just sort of with a hangover.
Yeah.
And it was just shocking. It was absolutely abysmal.
I don't know what Salek could have done more to get a free kick in that game. Every time the ball came forward, his shirt's being pulled. There was times his shirt was being pulled from the collar. There were times where they were grabbing his arm, pulling him down, and the referee was looking straight at it for the majority of it. And the penalty incident, I thought at the time the foul had started a long way outside the box and it had carried on into the box. And I thought that's maybe why the referee didn't give it. No, it happens all on in the box, which is why I'm even more shocked that he didn't give it then.
Yeah, it's just a bad call. I feel like if it's the other way round, it's a free kick. If Salek does that to the defender, he's maybe not that ref because, as I said before, just wasn't
Doesn't
interested.
give anything.
But normal referees would have gone, that's a foul, it's a free kick to the defender, and so it makes sense that is just a penalty. He's gone round him. He's tried to pull it through. He's just been absolutely tugged back and pulled to the ground. It's clear cut. I don't understand what more needs to happen to make that a penalty. Did he need to be like full on Hadouken or like Tekken style, had his head kicked off? It's the only thing I can think of.
I wouldn't like to see that, but that would probably be a penalty.
I don't know if it would with him. That ref?
In decapitated computer game style, that's a pen.
Ref just shouts finishing.
Yeah, and then he respawns on the pitch. Lovely stuff, really. There was another moment as well where Mate came. I thought Mate did quite well when he came on. He had our highest. He had our highest XG and the most number of chances. And he came off the bench with 25, 30 minutes to go. There was another moment where he bulldozed his way through to about the edge of the box. He gets fouled, and the referee plays advantage. But Mate takes a shot immediately because he's been fouled, and he's like, I can't really do anything else here. And it goes over, and the referee's like, I played advantage. And Mate's like, yeah, but what was I supposed to do with that advantage? Like, I've been fouled twice. And like, it's just like this basic competence of referees. I watched the Derby Preston highlights this morning, and Derby got a penalty that was probably a weaker foul. No, sorry, I think it was Stoke. Yeah, it was Stoke. It's Al Hamadi, who's the Ipswich guy. He's on loan at Stoke. He got pulled in the box back, but it's a weaker foul than the one that was done on Salek. But that penalty was given. And it's like, Tom, like, there's no consistency with the referees this season, is there? We've talked about it being a bad league, but it feels like the referees across the board this season, across League One, League Two, and the Championship, have been pretty poor.
Yeah, it's felt more frustrating than usual. I don't know whether it's because we're shit as well. So more of these things seem to happen. But, like, it has been really, really poor at times. I suppose at least this referee was consistent within the game. He just gave nothing.
Yeah.
I suppose if we are asking for consistency, it was consistently bad, but there we go. But like the Salek one is a penalty. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
It is frustrating. In a game of few chances that lacks quality, they're the moments that you kind of need at a stage of the season, and we didn't get it. And that's what Salek offers. He's a nuisance. He gets in those positions. He makes defenders foul him. And the referee didn't give it. And he like you said, he didn't give it all game. It's like he decided, like, that kind of rough and tumble, I'm just not giving it. No matter what happens, I'm not giving it. That's my decision. He woke up that morning going, yeah, it's going to be that type of game. Scrappy, not going to give him. And perhaps it is a little bit of evening out as well, because he didn't give the one to QPR. I'm not giving this one to Cardiff. And that's it. But yeah, the refereeing standards, to be honest, like even in the Premier League as well, like I think less and less people want a referee, and the quality is now being affected by it. Like,
I saw
and you don't want to slate. Sorry, like, you don't want to slate referees, but when it's like that, it's hard not to, isn't it? Really.
Well, in a game of few chances and little quality, they are the difference makers, right? That's the moment where the game could have turned in our favour. We score that penalty, we win that game. I have no doubt about it, because that would have killed the game off.
It's a season changer for both teams, though, isn't it? Like, you look at that with the results that went on there, that takes us to 43 points. That puts us above Derby. Derby dropped back in. And not just that, suddenly you're looking at 43 points. QPR, we'd be level on. No, sorry, QPR be on 45. And you look at that going, oh, maybe they can drop back into it as well. And sort of there's more teams in it. It's a honking decision. It really is. At a stage of the season where referees can't be afforded to making these mistakes.
I saw this week that Liam Trotter, who I was convinced had played for us at some point, but he hadn't. He's a very Cardiff City player, Liam Trotter. He's trained to become a referee, and I think he did a big piece about like why he's doing it. And I think that is the route, right? Because players know exactly about the game situations. I get it; referees are trained and all that kind of stuff, but they don't know how the game operates half the time, or they're caught in the wrong position. Like the linesman yesterday, there were so many times where he wasn't looking at the ball, or he was looking across the defensive line when stuff was happening next to him that he could have called. And it's like they need help, but also they need to just be better. more generally.
The referee got his balls way about 3 times in that first half,
Yeah,
which I find really frustrating.
Yeah. There was the one in the first half where Isaac Davis got fouled, but the ball ran on. Isaac Davis ran to get it, but ended up so far in the corner that there's nothing he could do with it. And the referee had played advantage. It's like there's no advantage there. The defender's in front of him, and he's basically on the corner flag. What's he going to do? And he didn't call it back. That said, Ben, we can't blame referees. We have to blame our own incompetence. Mate, Robbo, Salek all had half chances. Salek's was probably the best, wasn't it? Where he cut across, blazed it over the bar. Didn't really trouble the keeper, though, did we, apart from that?
No, I think that's the biggest worry, isn't it? Sort of look at it going, it's a game we could have won, we needed to win, but we didn't really create that clear-cut chance. At no point, sort of, there's a lot of games of football you look at, you go, that was the chance, that was the moment to win it.
There was nothing, was there?
We didn't have that moment where I gone, oh, we definitely should have scored that. I think you made a point, sort of walking back to the pub afterwards, it was players are just snatching at stuff and just making that wrong decision.
Yeah.
Like Tanner
it was that Salek shot as well, wasn't it? Sorry, Tanner volley, Salek shot, where he was keepers off his line, but he could have played it through to Robbo, but he just tried to shoot.
Yeah. And I get why Salek is a goal scorer, and like Robbo got really annoyed with it, but like
Robbo would have done the same.
He's doing exactly the same. So I get that, but it's just poor decision or just snatching at stuff and not having that confidence that they'd have if you're sort of mid-table. I think like Tanner doesn't really
mid-table. The dreamy, heady heights of wealth.
Well, this season,
it's just so bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's but it's like you look at like Tanner's stuff. Like he doesn't realize how much time he's got to let that drop and pick up the pass. He's sort of, I think part of it is you are right. He saw his name in lights, but I also think it's just rushing and going, oh god, this is the opportunity. I'll make it count. And just players just snatching at stuff, and it's just not coming off.
I thought Mate should have scored, or at least hit the target. Sorry, later on.
Which one was that?
The cross from O'Dowda. I thought that was the chance, to be honest with you. I thought it sounded like it was. I think you just got to hit the target at that stage of the game. I thought he had a good game apart from that, like we said earlier on. But I thought that might have been the opportunity, really. But we've seen this quite a lot this season where we have this flurry in the last 10 minutes where we're like nervous. Okay, let's go for it now. We shouldn't lose the game from here.
Yeah.
And it's not really good enough, is it? You can't rely on this like frantic end to games to kind of get us out. But that's what we've done far too many times this season.
Yeah. Yaku Mate had our most shots with 3. He had his XG, sorry if anyone who hates XG, of 0.16. And that was our best XG from any player, 0.16.
And he came on the 66th minute.
Yeah. Speaks a lot, really, doesn't it, about how fucking dreadful we are. Kian Ashford had a XG of 0.02. Good stuff, Kian, lad. Shout out to the fans behind us in the ground who, every time even Horvath had the ball in the final minutes, were urging him to boot it forward when there was nobody in attack because they'd all been defending. So that kind of sums up really how frustrating yesterday was. Really, just boot it, man. There's no players there. There's nobody there who's going to get on the end of this ball. What's he going to do? Kick to no one, then you'd be angry.
To be fair, he still a lot of the time did kick to no one.
Yeah, he kind of fulfilled his promise, didn't he?
It is mad, though. Like, we had 11 men behind the ball, but there were still holes everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the bit that's like, we didn't have any attacking options. We had everyone behind the ball, but we still looked like we couldn't defend properly at times. We were so lucky that they had no attacking. Like Cifuentes said, QPR lacking attacking options. If they had our attacking players in their team, I think they could have caused us quite a lot of damage.
I think when there was times in that first half where we started on the front foot and we did press them a little bit, but then we just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And there were moments where we had every player inside our own half, which meant that when we did get the ball back and tried to break with it, everyone was behind the ball and behind the half. So they couldn't get forward. And there were times where obviously Colwell was obviously playing in the kind of deeper role, which I just don't think it works for Colwell as much as he tried his best. So he would then try and push out. And then there were moments where it was just Mansverk trying to be the defensive midfielder on his own. And there was just a gaping hole next to him where there was nobody. There were times where QPR had 3 players overloading us on one wing. And it was just like, I couldn't see what was happening to kind of counteract it. Our players were just looking at it like, what are we supposed to do? I do think, we'll talk about this in a bit. I do want to give shout out to, obviously, Andy Rinomota put in a great performance yesterday. He was up and down. He was battling, did what he had to do. And after the week he's had, rest in peace to his brother. It's such a horrendous thing for the Rinomhota family to be going through. So I think he deserves a whole lot of credit for fronting up yesterday and coming out and playing. It can't have been easy, but he put a shift in, and that's all we can ask. So yeah, all the best to the Rinomhota family. Let's go over to Twitter, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. First question, Ben, is from the Raspin Dog. Benefactor, is Ruben Colwill a dud? If you listen to the person behind us yesterday, you'd think he was the worst footballer of all time. Yeah. Gave the ball away every time he tried to do something, which kind of happens when you're someone like Ruben Colwill. Is he a dud, Ben?
No, I think he's shown too much. Like the glimpse of quality he's shown, there's too much there for him to be a dud. It's just, I think he's at the wrong club
in this team.
Yeah, there is that as well. They're all shite. But I think he's just at the wrong club, isn't he? It's the wrong club at the wrong time for him. Yeah. It's just not going to work for him here, I don't think. I think you look at everything that's going on, the way he's been played, the system and stuff like that. He needs a manager that can develop him. Reza can't develop him. He's just not that manager. He's too inexperienced. Yeah, he's not a dud, but he's got the potential to be a very, very good player. But time to fulfill that potential is very quickly running out.
Tom, I think you've been speaking to Tom Lang. Still keeping positive. We just need that little bit of luck when these games are tight. Next three are crucial, but with how West Brom and Norwich have been, certainly opportunities for points there as well. Keep the faith, lads. We'll be all right. Tom, speaking your language there, isn't he? Optimism.
Yeah.
Blind.
Yeah.
Optimism.
That's my burner account. No, we're still in it, aren't we? It is mad. Like we said earlier on, like there's a lot of shit teams in this league, and we just need to beat a couple of them. So there's still hope.
It's great though she's married your burner account as well.
Yeah, just really like that is. Yeah.
Never met the guy.
That is.
MJ Kerr 93 says, I want to stay positive until the end. It is a real struggle. Today was the first time I truly thought we might get relegated. Chris Ashman, the constant changes in personnel from game to game and half to half obviously contributes to our lack of sustained flow and fluid football, square pegs, etc. Really hoping we do it, but not sure how, given the above. P.S. Quite heartwarming to see Ben and Ben together at a game today. He did take a photo of us. It's on our Twitter if you want to see it. Count how many chins I have. John T.M. Williams, why is it that we struggle to beat the first man at corners? It's been going on all season. Simon Keane says, another draw and we're still trapped in the world's slowest car crash. Make it stop one way or the other. Just make it stop. Lee Sanders says, imagine every single one of our players is fit with the Football Manager green circle. Pick your 11s for the run-in you think will do enough to keep us up. You can do a home and away 11 to be fairer. Oh, God. I don't think it's far off. For me, I'll come to you guys. I don't think it's far off what started yesterday. I would try and get Callum Robinson in there because he's the only player who can seem to score goals. And I would probably bring Darland in for Bagan. But I would keep the rest. Oh, an NG maybe somewhere. But I don't really think NG's been that good this season. Ben?
Anik, Rinomhota, Fish, Gutas, O'Dowda.
All changed.
Alves, Mansverk Rolls. Can't decide between Ashford or Davis. I'll go Davis for the time being. Callum Robinson, Salek.
Tom?
Yeah, it's not far off. It's quite funny when you're like, I want to get Robinson in there. But that's the problem. All of our good players are up top. And I think that's what Reza tried against QPR. It's just, we just ramble them and something good would come of it. I don't think Ben's far off, to be fair. I'd be tempted with Darland and Gutas still. I still think as a partnership, that's probably our strongest one. Fish has played well fairly recently.
Sorry. Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Alnick in goal is sensible as well. I definitely go Davis over Ashford at the moment. I think he's a little bit more of a complete player. So yeah, I don't think Ben's far off.
Interesting. Neither of you said Ramsey or Colwell.
I'd go Colwell ahead of Rolls, but then you've got that worrying bit of it's too attacking and we're kind of imbalanced. I don't know. It's hard to pick. Like, we're at this stage of the season, it is really hard to pick our best 11. So I don't think we haven't seen like 3 games in a row where we played well. Do you know what I mean? So it's really hard to judge.
I'll be honest. I forgot Aaron Ramsey plays for us. That is why.
It doesn't really count anymore.
But to be honest, it doesn't change my mind. I'd still put Rolls in ahead of him.
Bluebird John asks, if Simic is so talented, why is he not involved in the first teams? Surely he should be on the bench. Seems very odd. Would love to hear what you guys think. I have no idea what's going on with Simic. If you read his interview this week with Glenn at Wales Online, he talked as if like this was the plan all along. We're really missing something off the bench. We only had 8 subs yesterday. I know there was Chambers dropped out late on Friday. I would just chuck Simic on the bench at this point, Tom.
Maybe, but there's obviously a reason behind it. I think our problem isn't the personnel up top. I don't think that's our problem. I don't think that's where we need people to be coming up. We've already got enough attacking options coming off our bench. So I don't think he'd be the answer. But I completely understand where the fans are coming from because we're all looking for an answer somewhere. We need something, but I just don't think that's it yet. And I'd be interested to see if he does make more of an impact next season. Perhaps it is the plan. But with Cardiff City, we're not exactly great at long-term planning, so I don't really buy
it. Ben, any thoughts on Simic? Or Simic? I'll say it both ways.
It's the Reindorf situation. We all thought he was the answer, or we were just desperate. Hopefully, he would be the answer. And you look at sort of how it's gone with Reindorf, sort of stepping up from under 21s to senior football, playing for Bristol Rovers. You can't get in the squad. I think. Hopefully, Simic in whatever league we are next year, will get some goals. But I think for now, I think we're going down. I said it last week. I don't care. It's Simic in League One. Let's have it. But I think, he's like Tom said. I don't think the striker's the issue. We've got 2 strikers that have scored between them almost 20 goals. I'm not worried about that.
But once you've got strikers, you are scoring goals.
Yeah, it's everywhere else.
MJCCFC says our games are consistently tight and fine margins are the difference. But what do we need to do differently to turn draws to win? One week it feels like it's fixed up defensively. The next is the opposite. Part of me could see us drawing virtually all the games left bar Sheffield United. I still think there were times last season where we had games like yesterday, and for whatever reason we would. I mean, last year's game at QPR was basically this. It was a game of limited chances, and we won 2-1. We had a way of digging it out last year. I'm not going to say that Bullock would have kept us up, but Bullock gave a steal to our team at times last year that we just don't have under Reza. And I don't know why that is. Neath Blue says, I don't blame Reza. He's trying his best, but clearly out of his depth, especially with how the club is. We deserve to go down, and I would blame the board and Tan, not Reza, if this happens. But I would do anything to bring Warnock in right now. Well, the club wouldn't do everything, would they? Rodri, what is the worst concourse in football, and why is it QPR's? It's shit, isn't it, Ben?
It is shit, but I still think Reading's is worse. There's a little bit of character to QPR's. I thought it was
that's true.
Fun, but there's nothing about someone like Reading's.
I was going to say I don't really remember Reading's concourse, and that says it all, really.
I think one of my favourite things yesterday was a steward trying to convince one of the City fans who clearly was shit-faced.
Oh my god!
The reason the light in his face wasn't from a window, it was from the hole in the concourse. It was by putting his finger over it and having to say, see, it's going, and just watching the bloke not believe him was spectacular.
Yeah, there were some proper shit-faced fans yesterday, which is lovely to see.
You have to be, though, to kind of get through it, though, don't you? I feel like our fans are drunker this season than others. From like, like every week. I don't want to... Because I think like the football shits, you just go down the concourse earlier, and you just get more shit-faced.
I went down about 30 minutes to have a piss about half an hour into the game, and it was absolutely rammed in the concourse. It was like Rotherham away on the last day of the season.
It was a sold-out away end, but weirdly, for a sold-out away end, you could find seats anywhere.
Yeah, there were a lot of seats.
There were a lot of really strange.
Winhouse says a point at QPR in August would be celebrated, not so much in April. I think we can look forward to another 7-side derby next season at Rovers. Di Richards, Las Vegas, checking in. Frightening that it's down to us to dig our way out. I think of Nathan Jones coming in after Oxford and we'd be mid-table by now, and yet somehow it's still in our hands. But do we have that mentality to get the job done? Big week. Craig Parfit Parry says, what's longer, Horvath's legs or arms? What's Rocco got to do to even get in the matchday squad? Evan Williams, Stoke a crap and we'll do them. Need Chambers fit. Gaz says, what trips are you most excited about in League One next year? Bradford for me, if they're coming up. One for Mr. Price. Has Kaiser Ludwig slid into your DMs too? That's from Utah Jazz Fans UK.
No, Kaiser's not slid into my DMs, and I'm not 3-0 in divorces either. There's about 5 people. There's about 5 people that will get that, and they'll let the rest of them
right, good.
Over their heads, and I'm all for it. I'm not even going to explain.
I got a fucking clue. Fair play.
Yeah, I'm off. Richard Endicott says, "Are we being sponsored by Virgin next season? We don't even look like scoring." Has down by the CCFC says Josh Bowler performed better than El Ghazi. I mean, El Ghazi's barely performed, does he? I like him. I think he's had a few good moments, but I don't think we're seeing him again this season. Gareth Dunning,
on the El Ghazi thing, right? Can fans fuck off with the we're in a relegation battle when he's talking about the fucking genocide going on in Palestine? Get in the bin.
Have some perspective. I think, we praised him when he came into the club for doing exactly this, and I get it. We're not happy as a fan base, but he's not the man to be taking it out on when he's trying to raise awareness of a very serious issue.
Completely agree.
Gareth Dunning says it's grim, but the post you'd see, you think we were 10 adrift and all, but mathematically relegated. It's crazy. Yes, it's pointing towards relegation, but we are level on points. Yes, level. Dust off, go again. No other way to approach it. Mark Thomas, 5 wins in 27 games. That is all that needs to be discussed. David Charles says a point is a point away from home, but we did enough today to come away with all 3. Our home games will be crucial, though. Doubt if they will be easy. Stoke were poor today, but scraped a point. Oxford, who knows? The elephant in the room, given how tight it is, will be goal difference. Oliver Rees says, I had a lovely chicken balti pie at Loftus Road yesterday. That's all I have to say this week, lads. Sorry. Big up the podcast. Delith says, Division 3 again. No, please knows. No, please knows. David Charles says, Andy Rinamoto was just superb. Amen to that. And then there was a couple of questions. The first one, mainly probably for you, Ben, but I can chip in on this as well. I'm not sure if Tom can. With the situation being as bleak as what it is, what is everyone's favourite wrestler's finishing move? Ben?
I could do a whole podcast on this.
Just one, please.
Swanton Bomb by Jeff Hardy.
All right, Swanton Bomb. Tom?
Was it the RKO? Was that Rob Van Dam, or have I just made that up?
Randy Orton.
Oh, Randy Orton. There we go. So I mixed up 2 things. I had Rob Van Dam pajamas as a kid, so I think that was in my head from Tesco. I honestly have got on Carlito. I had a Carlito t-shirt. Caribbean cool.
He's still around.
There we go.
Yeah.
Mine will always be the sharpshooter. Love Bret Hart. He was my favourite wrestler when I got into wrestling. So the sharpshooter for me. If only Reece Jenkins was here for this question. Can't bear to talk about the football. What's your favourite Disney film song? Mine is I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book. Tom?
Oh, I once Never Smile at a Crocodile on stage in a high-pitched girl's voice for young Americans, like the touring thing that I used to go around the country, like teaching things in school. So I'll go with that. There's video evidence somewhere. I'll have to dig it out.
If anyone can dig the video evidence out, that will go on our YouTube channel.
How old were you?
It was last week.
I don't know, like 8 or 9. I wasn't recent, but yeah. I'm mad, really.
Ben?
Be Prepared from The Lion King. Scar's song.
Okay. I'm going to go with Under the Sea. That's just a classic.
Oh, belter. Yeah,
it's a belter.
I like Be Our Guest as well. I like from Beauty and the Beast. I think,
Be My Guest was the other one that was in my head. Just stop hanging out with you, Tom. We're too close to each other.
Well, I've moved quite far away now, so
Stop it.
There was one other question. Where is it gone? I'll get to this question next, but first I've got a quiz. Big up to Jonah. Yesterday we met when we were leaving the Syndicum social, who gave us kind of damning by faint praise when he said, his missus says every week, why do you listen to those 3? It's the same thing every week. And I think it has become the same thing every week. Even my brother said, good luck. You might as well do AI just to kind of get through this podcast and give us something different. So I've done a quiz. It's a statistic-based quiz. So, I mean, no prep. It's just pure guesswork, boys. It'll be a bit of a laugh.
That's all right, yeah.
I've gone back through over the last few seasons and found some choice statistics to tell a story in some way or another. I'm going to ask you to guess what they are. So first question, 2016-2017 season, cast your mind back. We were top of the league for interceptions. How many interceptions per game did we do on average? Just shout out a number. It's to the decimal point. So
17.
Tom?
I have no idea what a normal number is. 11.2.
I mean, Ben, you were pretty much spot on. It was 16.9.
There we go.
1-0 Ben. Second question. In our promotion season of 2017-18, we ended the season with the joint least red cards. How many red cards did we get that season? Tom?
1.
Ben?
2.
It was one red card that season. 1-1. Question 3. In the 2018-19 season, which we were famously in the Premier League, we finished the season with a marvellous 10 clean sheets. Miraculous, really, when you think about it. Which 2 former Premier League winners finished below us with less clean sheets? Ben?
Man United and Leicester.
Tom?
Man United and Chelsea.
You get 1 point each. It was Arsenal and Man United. Arsenal and Man United. We finished level with Leicester, Ben, so you were close.
Hit the post.
So what's that? 2-2? 2-2 going into question 4. In the 2019-20 season, we finished bottom of the league for accurate passes per match. What was our average? Tom?
Is this a percentage or the actual amount of passes?
A number to a decimal point. But you don't have to worry about the decimal point. It's close as you can get.
145.
Ben?
127.
Neither you get a point. Tom, you were closest. It was 207.3.
Oh,
which is quite a lot, actually. In the 2021-22 season, I skipped the 2021 season. There was fuck all there. We finished second for the highest number of yellow cards. How many yellow cards did we get that season, Ben?
26.
Over a season.
No, you said it now.
I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
52.
You mulliganed it. Tom? Over a season. 46 games of football.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
89.
You were closest to Tom. It's 104. So, Ben, you got halfway there with your guess. Still 2-2. We're going down to the wire on this one. It's like our relegation battle.
Well, I'm free to... Or do I not get a point for being closest?
You weren't close enough, in my opinion.
This is vague, the scoring system. To say the least. There should be 4 to 1.
Tom. Do your own quiz.
Fine.
Last season, what was highest? Our average goals scored per match or our average goals conceded per match? Tom?
Scored.
Ben?
Conceded.
It was conceded. We scored 1.2 goals on average per game, but we conceded 1.5.
We finished on a minus goal difference, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's effectively the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
3-2 to Ben going into the final question.
How am I not 4-3? Fucking joke.
I make the rules. This season, we're 21st for clean sheets, as we've only had 7 clean sheets. Which team who aren't in the relegation battle has a worse record than us? And I'll give a bonus point if you can guess for how many they got. Ben, you're first.
Why am I first every time?
I've been switching them. Tom went first on the last one.
Portsmouth.
They're in the relegation battle, Ben. Do you want to rethink your answer?
No, I thought you said the relegation zone.
All right. You said Portsmouth. No, I said relegation battle.
Oh, right.
Ben said his answer was Portsmouth. How many do you think they've got?
Fucking 92. I don't care. I'm out of this now anyway. So bollocks to stupid fucking game.
Tom, you can claw this back with if you get the team and the number of clean sheets they've got right, you're back in front. They're not in the relegation battle. Norwich with how many? We've had 7.
Well, they've had less than us, so
yeah,
6.
He's only got to done it. Norwich with 6 clean sheets. He takes the win 4-3. Ben, you gave that up.
Oh, fuck. It's like that TalkSport quiz all over again.
We don't talk about that, mate.
It's not making it. Who fucking cares?
Tom?
I'm absolutely buzzing. I take back what I said about the scoring system. It's fine.
I was going to talk about Omariza, but it's going to be the same discussion as last week. Tom, right? Let's talk about where we are on the relegation-ometer. As it currently stands, we are. Let me get the table up. I think we're in the relegation zone. I know that much is true, as Spandau Ballet once famously sung. Let's see where we are in relation to the teams around us because it's so tight down there. We're level on points with Derby in 21st. We're 2 points behind Stoke, who are on 43 and 20th. We're 3 points behind Hull, who are 19th, and we're 4 points behind Oxford and Portsmouth in 18th and 17th. We are 2 points clear of Luton, 4 points clear of Plymouth. We're going into the final 6 games of the season. Sorry, I forgot we had a game on Tuesday. Tom, you came into this pod relatively positive. You said off air, we're staying up. Now is your time to quantify that to the masses.
Yeah, I've woken up a little bit less confident. No, I think it is on the relegation-ometer, whatever you called it. It's pretty much 50-50, isn't it? Like, at the end of the day, we're level on points with Derby. We've got winnable games coming up. Our run-in is kinder than some of the teams around us who are like a few points above us as well. So it is like a toss of a coin at the moment. So I'm still fairly confident because like even the last 3 games we've been poor and we haven't lost them. And that's the only thing I'm clinging to is like even in the games where we're not clicking at the moment, we're getting something from it. Again, because teams around us are useless. Like I know we're just repeating things. That comment I've got in my head now as well about us repeating the same things every week. I know it's got in yours. I can see it. But but I don't know. There's something about it that I feel. At the moment, I still feel like we'll get out of this. We don't deserve to. If out of all the teams down the bottom, I think we deserve to the least. I think even like Plymouth and stuff, like they had a shocking run when they had Rooney and stuff there, but they pulled together performances in certain games.
Liverpool in the FA Cup.
Yeah, I don't get points on that one though.
No, I know you don't.
But I think that we haven't done that a lot this season. Bar the Swansea game, there's been a couple of times, and we battered Plymouth at one point. There hasn't been a game where it felt like we've like corralled ourselves and really pulled out a top performance. There's things we've edged through, and I think that's the way we get out of it. We probably edge through stuff, so we won't deserve to stay up. But I think we will do it just.
Ben, you said that you think we're going down. Give the opposite argument to what Tom just said.
I just don't. I look at that squad and I look at a lot of those players, and I don't think they've got the bottle in it to sort of survive this relegation battle. I think it just comes down to that. I just don't think there's not many players in that squad I'd want to fight with me. Like it's backing me up, and that sort of says everything.
You'd want Callum O'Dowda there.
Yeah. Yeah. But even then, it's just, I just don't think every chance they've had to pull ourselves out of trouble, when it matters, they've not stepped up.
We beat Hull.
But it's not pulling
us out. Yeah, it did pull us out.
But we had to beat them. Otherwise, we'd be even in more trouble if we didn't beat them.
All right, once out of however many.
There we go. That's all I wanted to hear. Once.
For the most part, I don't think they're there. And I just think, especially now we're in the relegation zone, I know it can all change. Like we win on Tuesday, suddenly we stand every chance of being out of the relegation zone. But right now, I don't see us climbing out of that relegation zone between now and the end of the season. I don't think the players have got the minerals to step up and
minerals. Nice, yeah.
I think the difference between now and earlier in the season, there was a couple of moments where it felt like there was a bit of a backs against the wall. It looks like Reese's job's on the line, and we plucked something from somewhere. Not nothing spectacular, but we plucked something from somewhere. But that has died out. I think that doing it for the manager bit has kind of gone now.
It's completely gone.
And I think that's the one worry. So I think that's why I'm erring on the kind of like, if we get out of it, we'll edge out of it. I don't think we're going to go and batter a team 3-0 to pull ourselves out of the mess. But we've just got a big couple of games coming up. And in 2 games' time, I think we'll know where we are. I think it won't take the 6.
Yeah. We got, obviously, Preston, starting with Preston Tuesday, Stoke on Saturday, Sheffield United away, the one game you could probably say within this run you write off, and then Oxford.
But then Oxford beat Sheffield United on the weekend.
I know, but I just think out of those 4 games, you rely on the other 3 for points rather than that game. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's true. But I think we're more likely to get something out of the fucking Sheffield game. It feels like.
I agree
because they stand to bottle their position a little bit. Not bottle, that's a bit harsh. But like they've got something to play for as well, so they could get nervy, and we could take advantage of that possibly.
Their fans are getting very nervy looking at the response to that fucking Oxford loss.
Yeah, and we beat them there in the cup. I know it's a completely different team, but at least we won at that ground.
I still think we've got it in us to stay up, and I do think we at this current moment, I think we'll stay up. And I think we'll pull out a result somewhere along out of the next 6 games where we go, didn't see that coming. Whether that's West Brom at home, Sheffield United away. I still think we go to Norwich on the last day of the season and get something as well, because Norwich they're the weirdest team in this league by a long way. They've thrown away more leads than anybody else. I thought at one point they were destined for the playoffs, and they seem to have dropped off almost into the mid-table kind of nether regions, really. And I think last day of the season, they're not going to be fighting for much. If there's a chance that we can go there and get a result, I think we might on the last day of the season, and that'll be pretty exciting. I just think it's going to go to the wire either way. We've talked about it ad nauseum on this podcast about who's playing who when, and how it's going to impact the race. There's so many roller coaster turns left in this race, and I think it's going to go down to the final day of the season for a couple of teams, really. One of the questions I skipped over was from Sam Kirby. He said, if we went down, which is looking ever more likely, do you think it would rally the fans and get the buzz back like Birmingham, Ipswich or Derby, or do you think we would rot in League One? I think the fan base is so fickle, it's probably the latter. For me, I don't get your thoughts on this now. For me, it's not about the fan base, it's about what the club does this summer. Like, if we go down, if we stay up, it's a crystallizing moment for the fan base, for the club, in realizing what they want this football club to be. Like, they can let this run as it is at the moment, but it's going to be like this every year for the next 3 or 4 seasons, no matter what league we're in. If we go down to League One and the hierarchy have the same apathy as they have at the moment, we're going to rot in League One and we're going to be there for the next 5 to 10 years. If we stay up and the club have the same apathy going into the summer, they don't do anything about Reza, they don't do anything about the coaching setup and putting something proper in place, we're going to be in the same relegation battle next year, fighting for our lives by the time of this point of the season. And it's only the only people who can make that decision are Tan, Dalman and Chu, because they're the ones who hold all the cards. And I think that's where we need to figure it out. You know, what Birmingham did this summer, they got the buzz back because they spent £15 million on Jay Stansfield and the club was back to the hill and they were going to go up no matter what. Ipswich had the same. They kind of invested, sorted it out with Kieran McKenna and have gone on that run. Derby eventually got there and everything else. I don't see Tan, Dalman and Chu doing anything like that. They'll appoint a cheap manager, probably put Darren Pearce in place, not spend that much on transfers. I know there's PSL rules now in League One and all that kind of stuff. And we'll end up in League One languishing a little bit.
I think the difference between a team like Birmingham, well, you look at all those teams they mentioned, they all are takeovers. The owners that went down and the owners that came up were completely different. Birmingham's new owners sort of, all right, they came in the year they got relegated, but they really only sort of made their mark this year on it. Before that, it was sort of, they came in sort of midway through last year, so it doesn't really count. I think we're much more likely to end up doing a thing like a Bolton or something like that at this rate, or a Reading, and just sort of struggle where we go down. It's just going to be mid-table mediocrity in League One at best. This club's toxic. It's just rotten from the inside, and like it is down to the ownership, like you said. It's down to them to correct this. But I don't think they're that interested in correcting it at the moment. I don't think their hearts are in it. We're a burden to them that they could really do without, and this puts extra effort into it. Like they may not be popular, but it would make an impression if like Chu and Darman sort of faced up to the fans a little bit and sort of put their faces out there a bit. They love doing it when things are going well. I think it's pathetic they sort of hide away when things are going terribly. I know they don't make things better, but at least they're sort of showing their faces, sort of showing something. Right now, you can't expect the fans to turn up when they're not turning up. If we go down, I don't think it'll reinvigorate us. We'll struggle even more. I think the crowds won't drop much below what they are now, mainly because they can't much more than what they are now. I think it's just, like you said, it's all down to the ownership. Until either the ownership changes or their mentality changes, nothing really changes with the club.
I think what I would say about galvanising the fans, I think home attendances will drop slightly, but we'll sell out every single away game because it's new grounds. And I think that bit will excite the fans because it's something different. Because at the moment, we're not seeing anything different. We're going to the same places. We're seeing the same sort of results. So on that side of it, I think on a purely ground hopping, day out side of it, you'll see a galvanised away end in a way. And we're not going to change our ownership, so it'll have to be a mentality change. And I think that's what we need to kind of get in our heads a little bit. Nothing is going to change in that front. It's got to be just a change of mentality, like Ben hit on there. So, but look, we haven't been relegated yet. I'm sure we'll have this conversation a few more times over the summer if we do drop. Yeah, for the same thing again. But like, look, I think we're a decent fan base. Like, our home attendances are struggling, but I don't think you can blame us for that. But I think I think it could be quite an exciting season if we did drop. Not because of football quality, just because it's something different that we've been looking for.
What I will say is at the end of the game yesterday, there was quite a nice moment where all the players came over and all the fans sang, "You are my Cardiff" to the players, and it felt like there was a bit of unity there for the first time I'd seen. Other away games I've seen where it's been very toxic. It felt like yesterday there was a lot of unity. The interesting thing, and I don't know if it's been covered elsewhere or not, is that we still haven't put season tickets on sale for next year. And that's quite telling for how the club are feeling about everything, I think. Because obviously the league we're in is going to dictate probably pricing and dictate how we're going to market those. Usually they go on sale. Historically, they've gone on sale as early as January. This year, they're not even on sale. It's a month until.
At least they're renewing ones. You think, do you know what I mean? For people to renew and stuff like that.
I can't see anything anywhere about renewals or buying new ones.
They can't really do it until they know what the pricing point will be, can they? You can't price the same for Championship as you can as League One. I think that's where they're tied. I don't think we're the only ones not to put them on sale.
No, but I just think it's just quite telling about the club's mentality, isn't it? And kind of like where we are as a football club. We're just in this limbo at the moment, and no one has a clue what's going to happen. I think you can't. It's so hard to predict how the end of the season is going to unravel. It's exciting, and it starts on Tuesday with Preston. It's Cup Final 1 of 6. Right, get you all excited for Preston. Their home form is basically the mirror image of our away form, which is really exciting. At home, wait, who am I looking at here? Preston. They've won 7, drawn 11, lost 2. Our away form, we've won 2, drawn 10, lost 8. It's the immovable object meeting the unstoppable force, but one of them is very much stoppable. Tom, fucking hate Preston. They have been a source of pain and misery for us many times over the last few years. Now would be the perfect time to exact some sort of revenge, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would be nice. Yeah, it's one of those like fixtures that every year look at the calendar like, oh god, them again.
Yeah,
like they're never any good, but they do a number on us, and it's really annoying. But yeah. I don't know. It's just that stage of the season now, isn't it? They've had their cup run. They've got absolutely nothing to play for, pretty much. So now's the time for us to step up and put a performance in. And I don't know. I'm not scared of this game. As much as I would be playing teams further down the league. We've got something to play for. It's kind of like the ideal. If you're going to pick an away game, I don't mind this one. You
say they've got nothing to play for, Tom. They're 14th. They're only 7 points clear of us at the moment.
Yeah, but a lot's got to go wrong. A lot of teams have got to fuck up.
Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Ben, how do you see this one playing out? It's the biggest of big games, isn't it?
It's huge. I don't think it's quite as big as Saturday's going to be, but I think it's going to be massive. I think we'll lose.
Oh, Ben, with your pessimism. Why? Your water.
See previous all games.
Yeah. So if you notice, mate, but we've not been very good this year.
No, I went on Radio Wales on Saturday, just before the game, and it was like I was asked how I felt about the game, and it was he said, how much have you enjoyed this season? I said I've only seen like 2 away wins all season, and here we are at QPR, like boldly going when nobody's gone before, and blind optimism going into the game, and it's like 2 away wins in 19 games this season for Cardiff City. You are right to be pessimistic, Ben. I just think we need to be, you're talking the club down, as those Brexiteers used to say about Britain. Talking the club down, we need some optimism. You need to talk the club up. What can you say about the club that's good, Ben? I don't open that door.
I still think the home kit's lovely. I think the home kit's a cracker.
Yeah. Okay, good. Great, Tom. Anything you want to add to that?
That's going to be 1-0 mate day.
Oh, did he score there last season?
Don't know, but it's going to come off his ass this week. I think, I don't know. I think we'll sneak it. We've got a good result away at Blackburn. I can see it being a very, very similar performance again at that stage of the season. But then I am silly optimistic. And like I said in a previous episode, I start to annoy myself at times. But if I'm not going to be optimistic about it, what's the point? So
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Ben, what do you think is going to happen?
2-0 Preston.
2-0 Preston.
that's a sensible position, really, isn't it?
Mate didn't score there last season. It was Grant and Ugbo. Mate scored against Huddersfield away. I think we're going to win. I've taken the Wednesday off work. I'm staying in a Holiday Inn in Preston on Tuesday night. I don't know why. I just thought this would be a pivotal game, and I wanted to go for it. That Holiday Inn is going to be miserable if we lose. So I sure as hope.
Mate,
and if you win,
they're not the brightest when you win.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on the booking.com screen for the reservation, I'll show you it, actually. I can show the listeners what this is like. This is the photo they give you for the trip. It's so good, they won't even show you what the hotel is. It's just a kind of bleak picture of the Preston skyline there. I don't even think that's Preston. It kind of looks like Cardiff. That could be the Millennium Stadium, but it is Preston. So that's how salubrious my hotel is going to be.
Preston's all right, though. There's some decent pubs. There's some, because there's a bit of a uni scene there. Was it University of Central Lancashire is there? Yeah, exactly. I reckon you'll have a good time.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. I'm glad someone does. If you don't see me next week, I'll have got lost in Preston somewhere. But we'll be back after the next game. Twitter.com/VFTNinian for all your tweets. KOFI.com/VFTNinian. We do this for the love, not the money. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you listen to the podcast, please give us a review, 5-star only. Tom, is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Do whatever you want to support the pod. Viewfromtheninian.com. Ben, have I missed anything?
No.
Tom, what are you going to do? What, 6:20 now? You've got a whole morning ahead of you.
Yeah, 20 minutes to my tram, so off to work.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe you get up that early for work. We'll let you go, Tom. Go and get off to work. We'll be back next week with hopefully a cheerier pod. Ta-ra.